quarantine to install to take longer the meeting. So this meeting is scheduled to take 1 hour, a bit over than 1 hour. Welcome everyone. My name is Iro and I work for the Mediterranean Information Office. And as you have seen in the invitation, in this webinar, we're going to discuss findings from recent cleanups we did in Athens, Alexandria, and Brussels. Hopefully, I saw we have someone from Brussels. So without further ado, let me share my screen. This meeting is taking place within the Bituati project, which is a project that is mainly targeting to empower the youth, young people from Egypt with skills related to sustainability. One of these activities taking place once in a year is this cleanup. So we thought it would be interesting for both sides to do Athens and Egypt, Alexandria, to do the cleanup and compare our findings. Within the next 1 hour, we will, after the housekeeping notes, we will have some welcome addresses from the partners of the project, follow a snapshot video of the Athens cleanup, do a nice break, and then start discussing about aspects of the marine litter issue as we experience it in our countries through a series of interactive questions. So, it would be nice if you could remove potential distractions, multiple screens, your phone. Coffee or tea is most welcome to accompany this discussion, because we would like to see it as an engagement and discussion between us. It would be nice for any of you that wants to leave the camera on so that we can see your faces. Have yourselves muted unless you want to take the floor. And please leave the chat box open, because actually this will be our main interactivity tool. We will ask you several questions and would like to do a kind of a mini poll to check your answers. So, some words about me and my relation to marine litter. I think the most dominant relation I have with the topic of marine litter is me being a swimmer, a winter swimmer, where in this hobby that I have the opportunity to experience marine litter firsthand with every swim I take in the sea. I guess this is the situation for many of us. Then through my profession and the projects we do at the MIO and MEdIES, we often have the opportunity to collaborate with stakeholders from within Greece and other partners to discuss the topic and what we can do as a way out, particularly through non-formal education. One of the things that we do at MIO is to compile educational material and do trainings like this to support teachers and students address the topic in their classes. So now, as I said, this webinar is given within the context of the Bituati project. So I would like to invite maybe Daniele or Kamal or whomever we have from the stakeholders of Bituati to maybe say a welcome.
Kamal, do you want to go ahead? I don't want to. go first?
I'll maybe change my camera angle after I give the welcome. But good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well. My name is Mohammed Kamal. I'm the Executive Director of Greenish Foundation, and we're part of 6 organizations that are working together for the BIT project, which is based in Egypt. I'll probably talk a bit more in the segment when I speak a bit more about the cleanup.
Okay, I'm also very happy to be part of this webinar today. Unfortunately, I wasn't present at the cleanup sessions that took place, but my colleagues were. I'm Daniela. I'm at the Goethe Institute Cairo, basically responsible for bringing this project into life and to bringing all these partners together. So I'm very happy to see how it's growing, and we're finding more and more ways to explore our collaboration.
Thank you, Daniela and Kamal. I see we have someone from Brussels. Maybe it's from the Make EU or EU for Ocean initiative, if you would like to take the floor. Because we have also the synergy with this cleanup taking place in Brussels 2 weeks ago.
Yes, good morning. Yeah, my name is Nathalie Van Isacker. I'm the facilitator of the EU for Ocean platform. So I just wanted to say that we have joined today because we are very interested in learning about the outcome of the events and learn more about what you have been doing. And so I will let you explain. But yeah, do not hesitate to come back to us if you need any more information on EU for Ocean.
For sure, Natalie, you will have a chance also to comment on our findings and to expose your findings. It's really interesting to see how cleanups have similarities and differences. So let's see. I would like to stop sharing and ask my colleague Olga to play just 1 minute video documenting our activity in Athens. Thank you, Olga. I saw it with pixels, but maybe we can improve it. We have the online version in our YouTube channel, and we can share with you. And let's go back to the presentation. So, as said, I would like this webinar to be interactive with you. And Please open the chat. I will give you 1 minute to reflect on the reason why we do cleanups. Mm. So I've seen your replies already. We have protection, preservation, education, connecting with like-minded people. It's a community activity. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's have this question in mind until the end of the webinar. Yes, marine plastic is a huge portion of the marine litter problem, as we will see. I forgot to mention earlier that I have 3 colleagues with me in this call, which is Vicky, Ala, and Olga, and 2 of them were actually in the recent cleanup. So let's see. First question for you. What is the item that is most commonly found in beach cleanups worldwide? It's a guessing exercise. I see you write the material, plastic, but please write items, type of items like bags, cups, straws with a question mark, beads, micro beads, food packaging. Cigarette butts. Okay, let's see what the statistics say and what did we find. Well, in the recent cleanup of Athens, we actually did two cleanups. One was undertaken by MIO on the 20th of September in Piraeus, a port that is situated southern of Athens, and it's very close to the biggest river estuary. So 3 days before the cleanup, actually, we had a huge downpour, and whatever was as a litter within Athens, actually a big part of it was washed up on this beach. And in this particular cleanup, contrary to what we usually find, we found as the most dominant item straws. The second one was bottle caps and rings. And the third one was cigarette butts, followed by a lot of plastic items like water bottles, beverage bottles, takeaway food containers, coffee cups and lids, styrofoam pieces, bags, and then small size food wraps and lighters. And the list goes on. I don't know if we have online anyone who participated in the cleanup undertaken within the EU for Ocean initiative, so the second cleanup of Athens. If yes, please take the floor and maybe comment on your findings. I don't see we have anyone, but we have now the chance to see what how they did in Alexandria. So Kamal, please take the floor.
Thank you very much. Hope you can see me now a bit better. One of the screen. Okay, perfect. So the cleanup in Alexandria, I think it might be useful later on when I explain a bit about the context of the place that we did the cleanup in. The cleanup we did in Alexandria was in partnership with Banlastic, an organization that works on plastic pollution and single-use and eliminating single-use plastics that is based in Alexandria, and also in partnership with an EU initiative called EU Gel Connect, which aims to connect youth from across the southern Mediterranean with the northern Mediterranean. Our cleanup, I guess the thing that we found the most, and it's something you find the most leaked in Egypt, is plastic bags. Single-use, non-recyclable plastic bags. They're very problematic, and you'll find that number 8 in the list is broken down plastics. These are also broken down items. This is also not a quantified table, because when we did the cleanup, we only quantified the recyclables separately from the non-recyclables, from the plastic caps and the cigarette filters. So plastic bags were our biggest problem, and also because they get broken down very easily. And then also the styrofoam packaging. Very common in Egypt that we use styrofoam packaging. We don't use as much straws, I guess. That's maybe the key difference. But you'll find a lot of styrofoam packaging because it's easy way of packaging takeaway food that's on the beach for a lot of the families that take it. This was by weight. So the table shows you by roughly the weight. But if it's going to be by items, then you'll find that the cigarette filters or butts would be much higher, and the plastic butt.
We lost you for a while.
It's a bit different, but if it's by items, it would be much higher. Oh, sorry. Can we go to the next slide? If the next slide is on Alexandria, I'm not sure.
No, this is the only one that we have, and it's already interesting to see the differences between the two. But maybe if we have any comment from Brussels before we put them all in the framework, if you want, Natalie or anyone else, please take the floor if you are ready to share something.
Yes, unfortunately, we did not attend the one in Brussels, but so I cannot give any information at this stage. But from previous cleanups that we have done, we had done one in Denmark recently. I think it was mostly cigarette butts that we had found in that cleanup.
Yes, indeed, we will find the cigarette butts as the dominating item in the top 10 worldwide. We will see it in the next slide. However, I would just like to comment the difference between Athens and Alexandria. In Greece, since a number of years, we have banned, no, we have not banned, but actually we pay for the bags. And this has caused a moderate decrease in the number of plastic bags found in the beach cleanups. On the other hand, we also have banned within the European Union, we have banned styrofoam containers. We used to find a lot of styrofoam containers, especially, you know, for the cold coffee that drinks like to drink. But now this is banned, and we don't we don't find it so dominant in the beach cleanups. So already we see indication how a policy, a law that is in place can actually have a result. On the other hand, we have the paradox because straws are actually banned also according to the legislation of Greece. However, it is true that Greek people like to drink their coffee cold, and they are in love with the straws. And it's even if it is banned, it is really difficult to get rid of this item. So this is a message for us. Okay, to not waste more time. Actually, there are 3 steps in a cleanup. And the more organized you are, the more you should pay attention to these 3 steps. So before the cleanup, think of the place that you are going to visit. Study the map. Where is the beach? Is there a river nearby contributing to it? Then you have to think of the logistics. Prepare your bags, hats, gloves, especially if you have a big group with you. And promote your event. Let your friends know that you are having it. During the cleanup, that should not take too long, maybe 1-2 hours maximum. Use your eyes to observe, to collect. It's an opportunity also to monitor. We monitored litter, and it's something that we advise you also to do. Follow safety instructions, especially if you're working with children, like we did in Athens, and have fun. I remember 1 year ago, we were in Crete cleaning up a really, really polluted beach over there, and a kid came to me and told me that this was the most exciting excursion they ever did with the school. So cleanups, even if they can be messy or dirty, they can be also fun and motivating. But it is important also to reflect on the findings, even informally, when the group gathers at the end of the cleanup, and discuss a little bit what were the main trends of items you found. If you did a monitoring, upload your findings in a relevant database. There are databases, European ones and the international ones, and also there is a plethora now of apps that we can use in our phone. So immediately the litter that we collect is fed to this data, and this is very important because this way the composition of the litter that we find actually informs the policies and the laws around the waste management. And after the event, you could even adopt a beach. So come over and over, even with just your family or your friends, to check and collect litter from it. So as said, you will choose to what extent you will apply the citizen science approach. You can do it with a simple top 3, for example, item list. This is something that can be done with observation and also with collection. Maybe you can use a 1-page form, which is kind of it's a simpler form to collect your data, or you can use an app or the extended form like the one that we use in Europe in the Marine Litter Watch application. On top of all, we do cleanups because in order to realize the extent of the problem of marine pollution, one has to visit a beach, and even the beaches that seem from afar seem clean, once you start walking in them, you will discover many litter items, especially small particles. I think we have a hand. Maybe Ahmed, if you want to take the floor and comment, please.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Just wanted to comment on what happened in the beach cleanup in Alexandria. I'd like to introduce myself first. I'm Ahmed Yassin, the climate activist and also the EU GEAL Connect program country coordinator for Egypt and focal point for the European neighbors South, European Union neighbors South. So I was so delighted to see the cleanup of Alexandria. But the most important thing that I've seen, because I'm an Alexandrian citizen, so I've seen that how Greenish were really great at engaging with citizens and beachgoers. It wasn't about the cleanup, like the collection, also about the awareness that they've raised regarding the beachgoers, and I'm amazed about how they've they engaged with them, the younger generation, even local citizens from around the place, which is called Amfushi, have been speaking about the cleanup and how they done a fantastic job. It's very important also to put into consideration related to the cleanup, because I've done a lot, that how we engage with local citizens and to be supportive to us, because they always, especially in Egypt, if I may say that they believe that, why are they doing this? Why they are volunteering for it? And they're just doing this without a specific reason. But what happened in the last cleanup, that they insisted to tell the people that why they are doing this, and it's not just about cleanup and stopping the shiny monstrous plastic rolling to our seas. Also, it's about the awareness. So this is why I wanted to say that and to thank them for their efforts. And I was really delighted to be part of this. Thank you again, and sorry for interruption.
Not at all. As said in the beginning, we see this webinar as an opportunity for us to interact and discuss. And we mentioned it since the beginning, also in your chat replies, that we're not doing the cleanups to solve the issue of marine litter, because it's quite huge. We are doing it to open our eyes and to open the eyes of people that participate in the cleanup, and also to the beach visitors that were not there for the cleanup, as you said, but just seeing people cleaning the beach, it's something that maybe creates a question mark in their mind. Why are we doing that? So we do it for a number of reasons besides the cleaning in itself. Okay, let's move on. So you will choose to how scientific your cleanup will be, depending on your participants, their age, and the time. But please try to interpret your findings. Devote some minutes to talk to them at the end of the cleanup. So try to think why, for example, we found more straws and lids than cigarette butts, because this beach that we visited was actually not a popular tourist beach. It was a beach that was next to the biggest river of Athens, and this is, I think, the reason why we did not find the cigarette butts first. We commented already about the fact that we found plastic bags in Alexandria. So another question for you, from the recent cleanup or any other cleanup that you have taken part in. What is the oddest, the most strange thing that you have found? Something that you didn't expect to be there. Sofa. Jewelry. Bottles traveling the Mediterranean. diapers, underwear, coins. This is a really interesting aspect of what we find in cleanups, and in all cleanups we find really strange things that create a lot of question marks how they got there. Let's see what we found in our last one in Athens. So we counted 10 shoes or soles. This is something actually that we find often in cleanups, boots or soles of shoes. 3 baby bottles and baby pacifiers, 3 vanilla containers, you know, the little ones with the white powder that we use to make cakes, toothbrushes, 1 empty wallet, 1 USB stick and 2 markers, 1 car bumper with a flash, with its own flash. And it was really exciting for the kids that participated. They really had this excitement discussing about these odd findings and how did they get there. As said before, it's always useful to compare with the composition that we find in litter cleanups taking place all around the world. So compare your own findings to, for example, the ICC, the International Cleanup Campaign, or the similar EU or the Mediterranean one, to see how your top 10 differs. And it's always, when you connect to the participants the activity to something bigger, I think it makes them feel more empowered in the activity. And insist always in your interpretation that although we call it marine, it doesn't come from the sea. Most of it comes from the land, with activities that humans do on land, and on many occasions far away from the beach itself. So stress also the importance of keeping rivers clean. That is why we do also many river cleanups and cleanups in parks and in cities. They all are equally important. In the top 10 list, you will see that around 3/4 of what we find is what we now call single-use plastics. So plastics that are purchased and used only one time, like food containers, like straws, like bags, and so on. And it's an opportunity for us to discuss the single-use mindset that we actually are all swimming in. The root causes, however, of this problem relate, of course, to inadequate management, but far beyond that, and the consumers, consumers' behavior. It has to do with the prevailing production and consumption patterns that favor overconsumption and single use. Now, the next question for you. How many years does it take for a water bottle to break down in the sea? You can make a guess and write it in the chat. We have some good students. Opa. So these are the estimated decomposition times of marine litter. And as you can see, the plastic bottle takes around 450 years, but these numbers are just estimates, as the exact number of years, depends on how deep in the water is the item, how thick it was, if it is hidden by the waves, or if it's exposed to sunlight, and factors like this. And of course, no one has lived for 450 years to check it, but we know that it is really, really slow, the decomposition time for plastic items. And likewise, for example, the fishing line that is even thicker than plastic takes even more time to decompose. Sorry. And during the cleanup, maybe it's an opportunity for us to think that for as long as the bottle remains, or any other item remains as litter in the sea, it actually is a factor of a risk factor for any organism that comes in contact with it. For example, how many dolphins will come in contact with this specific bottle during its lifetime in the sea. So they're a constant threat to organisms that can eat them, or be entangled in them. Now let's talk about microplastics. Already Kamal mentioned it, that they found a lot of small size particles in Alexandria. In Athens, we didn't actually collect them because we had a lot of big size items. On other occasions we do. But let's think of a source of these tiny plastics we call microplastics. Where do they come from? Clothes, beads, paint, yeah. Beauty care products, indeed. So, whenever a plastic item is exposed to natural elements, plastics get brittle, they lose their color, and then they become really fragile. So they're easy to break, and they become these tiny, tiny pieces. And when they are smaller than 5 millimeters in diameter, scientists call them microplastics. But it's also important to stress to the participants of the cleanup that this plastic, even though it gets smaller and smaller, it almost never goes away. And when it becomes as small as dust, actually it is impossible to remove from the sea or the sand. The sources, as you correctly mentioned already in the SARS, have to do with fragmentation of larger plastic objects like bags and cups and bottles and whatever. And here is also an interesting story about plastic bags, because maybe 1 or 2 decades ago, when we wanted to deal with the problem of plastic bags, we played with the composition. So the plastic bags at that time had certain additives that made them to fragment and to become microplastics even sooner that they were supposed to be, contributing to the problem of microplastics. Cosmetics with microbeads, as you said, we find them in exfoliators, hairsprays, paints, gels, and so on. And if you look in the composition of cosmetics and you find the word poly, it is probably related to a polymer, therefore a plastic type. Synthetic clothes, as you correctly mentioned in the chat, car tires. So every time we break our car, we release these microfibers, and also pellets. So these are called also mermaid tears, and these are these tiny. They look like lentils. They look like small stones, but they are extremely light, so that once you know them, you can recognize them and collect them. Now, if you work with collecting microplastics in a beach, in a cleanup, or even on your own, it would be nice to have one jar of them available for kids to see. When we go to schools, we saw them, something like that it was collected by hand, so that they know what they are looking for. Especially, you need to explain to them what the pellets are, if you can see them right here, so that they recognize them, have the proper equipment to help them trace them, and then train your eye in order to recognize where is the winter line. The winter line is the place where the winter waves meet, reach the highest points, they reach the shore. So this is usually the place where microplastics, together with cigarette butts and other small plastic items, tend to gather. And along this line, we can find a lot of them. Also, it is far more convenient to carry this microplastic handling in a sandy beach, because if the beach is rocky, will be difficult to find them under the pebbles or the rocks. Next question for you. We have now paper coffee cups. When we take, this is another favorite habit for Greek people. Can this paper coffee cup be recycled? Please write in the chat yes or no. I see 2 yeses, 5 or 6 no's, more no's. So actually it cannot be recycled, or let's say, even if it is technically feasible, it is too expensive to be recycled. So the inner lining of such a cup has usually polyethylene, and that's why it is not paper. We call it paper, but it is not paper. It is a multi-layered product. And now the EU regulation obliges producers to have this indication that there is plastic in the product. And actually, the best thing we can do that is to not deposit in the recycling bin, but to deposit it in the normal waste bin. So not only it cannot be recycled, it creates problems in the machine, in the factory, if it ends up mixed with pure plastic products like the lids or the plastic bottle, pure PETs, and so on. So it's a myth that the paper is made of paper, that the cup is made of paper, and many people consider that it's paper and feel okay with consuming it, but it cannot be recycled. Let's dive a little bit deeper with the labels and ask you which statement for this symbol is correct. A, the product can be recycled only once. B, the product contains PET, which is a type of plastic. And C, the product contains PET and can be recycled. This is very interesting. I see a lot of C's. Got you there. Well, the correct answer is the second. It is PET. It is a type of plastic. So this indication, a triangle with the number 1, just tells us the type of plastic. It has nothing to do with whether the plastic can be recycled or not. Okay, for some of you, you may know that PET is recyclable, but the indication in itself tells us only the type of plastic. And there's an interesting story again behind the, plastic producers decades ago when they took the patent of using these three arrows triangle and leading the consumers to believe that this is a product that can be recycled, and it has nothing to do with recyclability of the product. So there are numbers that can be recycled, and there are numbers that cannot be recycled, regardless of the triangle. Which one of them can? Usually in most products, we use the indication from 1 to 7. These are the most popular plastic types. We have hundreds of plastic types, but these are the most popular. And actually, the easiest to recycle are 1, code 2, and 5. All the others are problematic. This is a very local issue, so in order to know what is going on in your region, you need to contact your municipality to know exactly to what level they recycle these types. It is interesting also to note that 7 is not just one type of plastic, but it's a big styrofoam is not recyclable. That's why it was banned in the European Union. Other multi-layered materials like Tetra Paks, as we said, are not easily recycled. In Greece, we used to send them abroad. I'm not sure if there is any factory in Greece that recycles them right now. And very interestingly, again, the European legislation tries to simplify these labels that confuse all consumers with all these symbols and indications in order for it to be more direct as to what they should do with the packaging of the purchased product. Yes, I think we come to an end. Does anyone want to take the floor before we move to the last question, to comment on our findings? If not, or as we wait for any hands to raise, please complete in the chat the following phrase. In order to solve the problem of the plastic pollution, I can. How would you yourself finish this phrase? Use the first person and please propose action verbs, what you can actually do in your own setting. In your family, in your work context, in your neighbor, school. I will give you 1 minute. Oh, sorry. So we see already some action verbs. They're all very important, but you know the 3 R's principle that we have been discussing for decades: refuse, reuse, recycle. Not all verbs have the same strength, let's say. So reduce is a more strong verb than recycling, because recycling is not, you know, it's a trick in our minds that it will solve the problem. It will not solve the problem. We need to reduce our plastic consumption, especially when we're talking about single-use plastics. And another very interesting verb that comes along when we discuss with children is talk. So not only watch out for our behavior and reduce our consumption, but talk to others. For example, what did we find in the cleanup? It was very interesting in our event in Athens that the students were so excited they couldn't wait to go back and talk to their families about their findings and, you know, drag their parents to do the right things. I think this is the end of the seminar. We have some hopeful stories to end with. Yes. So if you're looking for hopeful stories, there are hopeful stories around from upcycling plastic wastes, starting from building materials. We can find bricks, materials used in buildings, to art, jewelry from plastic, and so on. Legislation, at least in the European Union, is a comfort, but in many countries we have to watch out how laws are actually put in place, and their enforcement is very equally important. But there is certainly a political will in favor of circular economy initiatives and reduction of waste. There are also stories from pioneer municipalities that we can all learn from, that have managed to reduce, to improve their waste management and reduce the waste generation. And maybe in the bottom line, I think in 2024, overconsumption models is not trendy anymore in young and older ages. So to come to an end, I would like to reflect on the question that we started from. Why do we do cleanups? What is their value and what we can all learn from them, from doing them and from talking about them and exchanging what we found in a more scientific way or in a less scientific way. And as a last interaction with you, you can leave us a word in the chat to evaluate this meeting that is coming to an end. I will stop sharing and invite anyone who wants to take the floor from Brussels, Alexandria, whomever we have to comment. We will share with you the PPT, and in the last slide you will find all the links to the Beachwati project and also to MIO and MEdIES, our own network, and this way you can follow our work. Olga just sent the link also for the YouTube video we watched in the beginning. Thank you, Areti. Nice to have you here. And on this note from Athens and our colleagues in Alexandria and Brussels and Italy, we will let you go and also communicate to you the recording of this webinar. So same time next year, hopefully we will have another event, and it will be an opportunity for us to meet again and see how the composition evolves from year to year or from bits to bits. Thank you very much all for being here. Bye, Michela. Bye. Bye, Andrea.